Why are we trying to build the nurturing capacity of K-12 schools? Before I answer that question, I have a confession to make. As I was growing up in public schools, I became a faux achiever. You might have been one too. Do you recognize this mental attitude? Did you ever just go through the motions without mastering the material you were taught? The embodiment of this attitude shown in the thought bubble is how Hollywood depicts the outcasts and the delinquents in school movies. All the inner city kids living in poverty in the movies will drop out unless they are saved by a creative Latino guy, nice white lady, nice white guy, badass white lady, or a mean black guy. The outcasts and delinquents that can be saved are still physically engaged in school, but they're intellectually disengaged. Dropping out of school is complete disengagement, so too late for Hollywood to save them. And faux achievement, the shame of my schooling, is emotional disengagement, which is invisible to Hollywood. We all understand what the physical attitude of the outcasts and the delinquents means because most of us disengaged in one way or another. Disengagement is pervasive in the real world of schooling. For teachers, it shows up as toxic stress, burnout, and lots of turnover. Howard Gardner of Harvard University referred to a raft of research showing that a clear majority of people who are supposed to get the most benefit from the system, those with bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees, are faux achievers because they get basic questions in their field wrong when they're presented in ways that were not on tests. The Carnegie Foundation issued a report in 2015 that recognizes that this is a pervasive problem and also notes that it is an imminently solvable one. In fact, they suggest that the engagement gap is more solvable than the achievement gap. The truth is that disengagement, in any way it happens, is a ripoff. Any education system that produces disengagement is denying a proper education to those of us who found ways to disengage without being called out for it. And immersion in the habits of disengagement deny our society the ability to benefit from properly educated citizens. The ripoff is happening because the system is built on the assumption that human beings can act like data processing robots. The teacher bots just have to get the information out of their heads into the instruction pump, which delivers that information into the heads of the kid bots. The kid bots regurgitate that information on command for tests, so that the admin bots can then adjust the incentive pumps. The incentives are supposed to ensure that the teacher bots and kid bots produce the right pattern in the data when they do what the programmer tells them to do. This model seems pretty good because it gives us a nice feedback loop. But it turns out that human beings do not act like data processing robots, and learning is not about delivery. This idea that education is just delivery has led to the system depending on vanity metrics. In case you're not familiar with the term, it comes from the world of entrepreneurial businesses. A vanity metric is data that gives a decision maker the illusion of knowing something useful. The classic example is a hit counter on a business website. Knowing that you have traffic on your site is very reassuring, but knowing how many hits you get is useless, because it doesn't tell you what to do to get more revenue. Now, if you knew what each person clicked on after they arrived at your site, then you could figure out how to direct them more reliably to the money-making pages. The opposite of a vanity metric is an actionable metric. When you know exactly what to do next, then you have actionable data. Certain data, such as where people click on a website, is actionable. So actionable metrics are the key to solving the disengagement problem in education. Now, I'll begin to introduce you to the learning tree meta-model, which will make clear what actionable metrics we need to use in education. The learning tree is concerned with getting from the now moment into future moments in a way that enables us to participate meaningfully in the generation of new nows. The model includes a feedback loop that actually means something to real humans. The learning tree has 8 roots that seek out crucial nutriments in the soil of the situation. The nutriments are the primary human needs that have been shown to be primary by robust scientific study. Primary means that they are not derived from any other needs, have non-neutral effects on well-being, and they are universal across cultures. The 8 needs are for air, water, food, shelter, sleep, relatedness, competence, and autonomy. The feedback loop, once it is complete, will show how we shape situations in order to better meet our primary needs. The roots come together to form the trunk of well-being. The roots and the trunk together define what we mean by nurturing in the tagline for this project, building the nurturing capacity of K-12 schools. The capacity to provide reliable access to the most basic primary nutriments for human functioning is what we aim to build in schools. In part 2, I'm going to finish introducing you to the meta model of the learning tree in order to explain what actionable metrics we need in education in order to solve the disengagement problem, and to uncover schools that already have solutions in place.